All right, what is going on, chat? Sorry for the delay. For whatever reason, I had to.
All right, what is going on, chat?
Ooh,
Sorry for the delay.
I had to do a little bit of a workaround to get to see you guys. What up? What up, chat? How's it going today in this crazy Pokemon economy? We're back again. Hey, what up? We're back. We survived another week of the Pokemon trading card game community, chat. We finally did it. We made it alive. Never thought I'd see the day where a Persian went from $20 to $64. I never would have guessed. Who would have thought? Cards that we put in our bulk boxes are now enough to pay a house. So, I don't know. Very odd. But anyway. My cards are up. Honestly, Mike, I am starting with some Poke-Idol or Pokédol and doing some stuff ahead of time. So I'm not starting grade review right away. Just doing a little warm up. See how you guys are doing, man. Episode 55. Hopefully you guys have had some good pickups. People in the Discord have been showing off some pretty cool stuff, and Civic has been showing some pretty cool stuff too. Those custom cards of the Pokemon Pocket stuff have been super sick. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying Pocket as much as I have. Boy howdy, do I love facing the Drugmeister, the Greninja, and the Darkrai EX. Riveting gameplay, let me tell you. I've been mentally challenged every time I play against that deck. It literally rocks the helmet. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. But anyway, we gotta dial in here. We have not been doing so hot when it comes to the classic section of Pokédol. So we're gonna get into it. I have a feeling we're gonna get it within 3. I have a feeling. So Gen 1. Let's see. I am gonna be doing grade review tonight, not right at this second. But yes, I will be doing it tonight. And for now, we are gonna guess that this is a Starmie. Boom. Water Psychic. No. Alright, so this is going to be a Goldeen. Boom. Ooh. Almost got it in the 2. So water, none. This is a Krabby for sure. There it is. Done. Next. Speed run. That is a Poliwhirl. Boom. Next. We go fast, chat. We don't stop. It puts its prey to blank and devours their dreams. Dream Eater. Was that a Hypno? Gengar? Haunter? Drowsy? Alright, next. Raichu. Boom. Time. What do you got, chat? How fast we do that? The description we choked on, chat. The description we choked on. But we did it. Alright. What's up next? Got the Pokédol out of the way. What else been going on? Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you guys. So for context, Monday I was going to stream. I was going to stream my. So let me back up. On Sunday, I was supposed to go to a card show. For those of you who didn't know, I was supposed to go to a card show that got canceled due to a winter weather storm. Couldn't go. It was way too dangerous. It was crazy. I was like shoveling for like 3 hours on Sunday. Absolute mayhem. However, I did take it upon myself to update the online store. So the online store that I'm going to be showcasing probably next week, because I still have some cards to finish, um, is pretty much live. I'm super excited to show it to you guys. Probably talk about it a little bit today. In addition, I also wanted to talk about my kind of a view and opinion on rip and shippers. Not necessarily like the rip and ship niche, but more of a lot of problems that I see with folks who do like online claim sales. I really shouldn't say like issues per se, but it's more of just observations, which ultimately has led me to want to build an online store and an online presence to sell cards in addition to showing them off on a stream. So this is what my site looks like now. So this is it. So after like a full week, I have been meticulously uploading every single card that I've had in my inventory to my website for purchase. So I guess having said that, so having shown what you're seeing right now, why am I showing this? Well, first off, to show that this is going to be live and I'm going to be doing kind of a more of a grand opening on probably Monday. So definitely stay tuned to that, because I'm going to have some discount codes for my entire store during that time, as kind of a celebration of having this finally finished. It's so close, but I think it's worth talking about. So first, I'll start off with kind of my observations on what I see with like claim sales and whatever. And to preface, this isn't me throwing shade at anyone. This isn't me belittling people that do singles. I'm just basically talking about observations that I have personally made that I'm, I guess, more or less taking a gamble on to see whether or not these observations will result in a potential opportunity for folks who want to get into selling singles online, that are struggling to find a niche or an opportunity to do so. So some of my biggest observations when I see people doing claim sales, is there's obviously that interest in that community engagement when you're selling singles, right? Like it's really cool to show off cards that you have, to show, hey, community, like I have these cards for sale. Like, let's talk about them. Let's kind of nerd out a little bit, have more of a community oriented experience, which that's what draws people to singles and claim sales, right? But I think some of the missed opportunities that I think impacts the entirety of single claims are a few. So the first one is presentation. I think that if you are going to do a claim sale, I think your presentation on your backdrop and everything like that should look really professional and presentable, as though, you know, you're inviting people into your business, right? Because if you're using an online space for your business, for your brand to sell, I really think you need to have it look on par with what you're trying to get out of your vision and your brand. If it just looks like the sticky notes that say no gambling and like all this stuff written in pen, or just like doesn't look well presented, like I understand people do the sticky note thing. I'm not like bashing the sticky note, but what I am saying is you got to have some presentation, right? You got to look the part, whatever, if you're not showing your face or whatever. Has to look clean, has to look presentable, has to look very clear. A few things that I see people do well is like making that very obvious and clear and whatever. So the other thing that I see a lot of people struggle with in terms of sales is kind of like, I guess, like the abandoned cart, right? So if people ask like, hey, can I see that card again? Sure, let me go show you. You take all this time to pause, show the potential customer the card, only for them to have it rot in a bag. You know, like, hey, I'm putting this in a bag for you. I'm setting it aside. Like, here's my Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, whatever. Only to the bag to get to rot, essentially, which is abandoned cart, is the technical term, where you basically have to take it out of the bag. You have to put it back in inventory, and kind of you basically wasted your time, more or less, because you lost a potential sale that someone didn't take very seriously. And that's the third thing, is that people online and during these claim sales are very, very interested in checking the condition of the card front and back as high quality as possible, because most folks who are purchasing, whether if it's for their personal collection, for their raw card or their raw collection or ungraded, or they're looking for cards that are worthy of grading, that they can actually take advantage of it being live to see live. You know, because TCG Player doesn't require pictures. eBay, for whatever reason, people take pictures with their feet in it and it's blurry and like real, some of them are like really bad. All that stuff. That's why I think streaming sales is really big, because you can actually see the card as though you're quote unquote there in person. But I think the lost or the abandoned cart is a huge problem that is very hard to kind of tackle in a very easy, concise way. And so what you're seeing on screen now is going to be my attempt at trying to not like correct some of these observations, because again, I'm not throwing shade. I'm not saying anything is wrong. I'm just saying that I think there are opportunities that I think we could learn from to see if they work or not. So I guess I'm trying to be like a guinea pig in the online claim space. So next week on Monday, basically I'm going to be showing like you would normally see as like a normal claim sale. So you like, it'd be no different. But if someone actually wanted the card that you're seeing, a few things is like, say for example, the MU-EX has been going crazy in price, right? So this card, not only would I be showing it in person, right? So like, here's the front, here's the back. If you're interested, here is the actual link to the card that you're seeing on screen that you can just purchase right away. So if you're actually serious about purchasing it, you can go directly to the site, put in all of your, like, you can pay with PayPal, you can pay with card, whatever. It's all through a legitimate source. It's all backed by, because I signed up through a legitimate business. Everything is protected through the credit card company, PayPal, whoever you decide to use. In addition, so that checks that box. So the other box that this checks is that every single picture that you're seeing for this MU-EX, for example, is the actual high resolution scan of that card that you'll be getting. So you can look and see, okay, that's what the edgeware looks like. That's what the front looks like. That's what the back looks like. You can visibly see if, okay, the whitening that I saw in person during the live stream actually is present on the actual image of the card. And so all of that is very well documented, so you know exactly what you're getting at that time. Is it an individual link, or does one link bring you to the whole page? So it would bring you to the entire store. And so one of the other things that I did in addition to that, which for the record, I don't know why I give people a lot of credit for setting up like the filtering and stuff, because I use Squarespace personally. And one of the things that they don't have in their store is being able to sort or filter. So if you're looking at that MU-EX, you just like, so first the link would send you to the store, and then you're just looking for, oh, okay, I'm looking for the Mew or whatever. So this should come up. It's funny because I'm kind of doing like a live test here. So if you're looking for the MU-EX, this is going to be the MU-EX that's available to you. Additionally, if you're looking at like, okay, let's sort by price, right? So here are some of the cards that I have. And so you get to see these, like, oh, this is the Espeon that he was talking about. Let me click that and purchase it or whatever. In addition to the kind of the high resolution scans, that microscope that you guys see me when I do card cleaning, I can also use that if you need more clarity on a condition of a card, right? So when people say, hey, can I see the front and the back? Not only can I show you the front and the back on my camera, but I can also show you under the microscope. To cater to the folks who I assume is the larger majority, which is people who are looking at these cards with the intent to grade, right? So this is my attempt at all that. So when you go to the website, it'll go to the store, it'll show you all the cards that are available that I'm actively showing on stream. So everything here is reflected on everything I'm showing on stream. You go to this portal, you go through the checkout section, you put in your credit card information, you have everything as secure as possible, like meaning that you process it through the PayPal or Stripe. We have a bunch of different options to go through payment. But at the end of the day, if you're interested, you actually have the option to just go through on your own, versus having to put a halt to the stream saying, hey, so and so, I have your baggie of stuff, are you going to pay for it, or can I offer it to the other person who showed interest? You know what I mean? So you're kind of like, that also allows the person who's showing interest the opportunity to get it. But if they're not serious, it also doesn't alienate the person who said, oh, I would have bought that. You know, now it's in like this like protective bag that you can't unlock until they don't pay for it. So it's kind of, so these are all the things that I've observed for people who do singles sales. So use me. This is my official announcement that on Monday, I'm going to be doing a grand opening of this site in addition to some discounts. And we're going to see whether or not this works in reality or not. These are just all the lessons that I've learned, whether they're good, bad, whatever. We're going to see if it actually works. Because I will say it is a ton of work to scan these cards. It was a big temptation. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a big temptation to just get these cards, the picture, just a generic PNG, to put the picture of the card, quote unquote, but not the actual physical card. Because this has taken me hours to do, to individually scan, make sure there's no dust on them, upload them individually, crop them individually, price them individually, like everything. So we're going to see if it pays off at the end of the day. So definitely look forward to that. Mark your calendars, because there's a bunch of stuff that I haven't even, like, I still have, and that's just for the ungraded stuff. So like I still have like all of these that I got to put on there, but everything in here, this is the online warehouse is in this little Pelican case, chat. But anyway, that's my TED talk about seeing if there's some opportunity for folks to see if we can kind of improve the game as a whole a little bit. But let me catch up with chat, because I just wanted to rant in like one coherent thought. I didn't want to break it up too much, so. We'll see on Monday when I do the grand opening for you guys. I have a question for one of the cards. Sure. What up, man? But yeah, Vic, actually there are some really good things that I saw in yours. I believe. I think it was the numbering. I think you had like the really bright stickers and the numbering. I believe you did that, or do that rather. I think that's really important to visualize, say like, hey, I want to look at number 2. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you do that. Possible. Do you have a Lucario Shiny GX PSA 10? I don't. That's one thing that I am going to be doing here soon is, so I'm updating the store for the raw stuff. So the ungraded, but there's a bunch of graded stuff. I actually have a pretty big submission coming in tomorrow. I was very surprised that it was coming in so soon, but I have a 71 card submission coming in that has like Jungle, Jungle, Team Rocket, and no symbol Jungle, which is really cool. So I have that coming in on Thursday or Friday. I'd be surprised if it comes in tomorrow, because they literally just said, hey, we're shipping it out, and it's like already going to be here. It seems pretty quick, but that's going to be a pretty big one. But I pulled one of those out of a Cleaver V box. Really, I love this Espeon. I personally, this one's my favorite Evolution VMAX, more so than the Umbreon. The Espeon is I really like the Espeon. Can most of the cards on the site right now get PSA 10? I would say there's probably some, but again, that's why I really like the idea. That's like where I lean more towards getting these cards with the high resolution scan. So when I show this Espeon VMAX on Monday, you can kind of see, okay, for example, just for transparency, which I'm a huge advocate for transparency. And so for this one, as an example, the left edge is a little bit thicker than the right. So you can kind of see that the centering on this Espeon VMAX may not be a PSA 10 contender. But I'm sure that there might be some within these ranges that are worth getting PSA 10s. But I can't say for certain, because obviously, like, I submit cards to get graded, right? So if I think a card's going to get a 10, I'm going to submit it myself. in most cases. Now, having said that, with how slow PSA is and how long they hold your money, I'm more as of recent, I've been more inclined to just sell the card raw, just for how long it's been taking to get PSA's turnaround time, to be honest. So, but again, that's complete transparency, right? Like I'm not trying to pull the wool over your eyes or, you know, make you think otherwise. So Greninja shiny in a PSA 10. Yeah. Oh, the GX one. Oh God. Me about to sell my Espeon for 300. Yeah, it's a little bit more now. Because again, because it was kind of a perfect storm because I updated these as I was going to do my show on Sunday, but the show canceled. So, yeah, that Greninja is nice. This one was a cool pickup too. This Greninja EX. I really like this pickup. Yeah, dude, I got upcharged a few times, and they really take advantage of you when they upcharge you. It's like, okay, what's a really expensive next tier, quote unquote. Any update on the Humidor? What specifically about the Humidor, Zubair? Sorry, you might have to jog my memory here. Honestly, I was super excited for this, I was super excited to have the show get canceled because it forced me to update the store. But all right, we're gonna have a talk. We're gonna deviate a little bit. So let me. I'm gonna poll you guys. Do you want me to talk about my opinions on tag grading, or do you want me to just go right into grade review? What are you guys thinking? Because I feel like I have to talk about tag for a second, but if we want to go right into grade review, I'll certainly do that for sure. Okay, gather around, chat. Gather around. So this is totally off the cuff. Totally off the cuff. I didn't plan for this, but I have been seeing so much talk and so much on my feed about tag grading that I feel like it's worthy of my thoughts and discussion. So, for those of you who do not know, Tag is a relatively recent grading company that their main selling point is AI, or artificial intelligence grading, meaning that they do not have a human being the major deciding factor of a grade. In addition, they offer a way to scan the barcode that is present on the card to get the AI grading notes on where your card got certain marks off, right? So like what we talk about in grade review all the time, the dings, the white corners, the edge wear, whatever, it's supposed to detect all of those imperfections to give you as the submitter more transparency from the AI's perspective on what's going on. So that's Tag, in case you guys don't know what I'm about to talk about. So in social media specifically, and I'll get to why that for me is a big underline, bold, italicized. So social media has been driving Tag very frequently from what I've seen. So there's a lot of people who talk about it in comments. There's a lot of people who prefer it for AI over the inconsistencies of the human element from PSA specifically. You know, obviously with BGS and CGC, they're all still using like the human grader element, but PSA is primarily the target when people talk about Tag. It's obviously a big topic of discussion. So let's start off with what are the things that I like about Tag. So the things that I like about Tag, I think that the AI component is a good one. Although I don't think it should be the only thing that is involved in terms of grading. I do think that it is an interesting technology to introduce into the grading space because more and more collectors are starting to get hurt and kind of like death by a thousand cuts over like, why did X get like a PSA 5 when I submitted it and it came pack fresh, right? There's a lot of those instances that people talk about, and they are left with not having a true answer, right? Which is why grade review that we do is like a way to try to like help out that a little bit, to give more context on why a card would or wouldn't get a particular grade. So I think that's one. The other thing that I like about it, visually, the slabs look really good. I think that they look very clean. In addition, I actually made a video about this prior, with how people are more or less manufacturing PSA slabs by like, okay, if I have a card that got a PSA 10, I'm going to crack it open, harvest the description, like the tag itself, and resubmit over and over and over again, basically harvesting or farming the PSA 10 to ultimately make fake slabs of that same card. So with that, tag actually has it etched, so you can't tamper, you can't harvest the grade, right? So it's actually etched into the actual slab itself. I'd say the other thing that I like about it is that it does have a nice, again, social media influence on. It's sealed, like when you get the return, it's in a sealed box or a sealed bag, that you can kind of like open it up like a pack to kind of get that element of like excitement and curiosity and like what's it gonna get. Even though you know what card it is, it kind of adds that extra element. So those are the things that I really like. I felt like the main things. I could probably go a little bit deeper, but I think for this conversation, without dragging it too long, those are like the main things that I really like about it. So the things that I don't necessarily like about it because of one reason or another, I can't really even like put a pin exactly on like why I don't really like it. But I'd say the first thing was that we are hearing about tag as much as we did not too long ago about AGS. Now, I'm just going to look at chat real quick. I'm going to pause my thought. Who has heard of AGS in here? Because not even that long ago, AGS people would be non-stop telling me AGS is better, AGS is AI. They're going to be the predominant factor in dethroning PSA. I have not heard about AGS since tag has gotten into the game. Now, whether or not that's bad marketing, that's bad business management on AGS, whether that's their social media presence has dwindled, or their collaboration efforts have dwindled, whatever. It seems very odd to me that there's a lot of like the same hype and the same energy behind AGS has now been kind of cut and pasted into tag. So for me, it seems to a degree almost unnatural, the migration from AGS to tag. So it's not a shot at tag directly, but it just seems odd because, again, they're very social media influenced, meaning they put a lot of money and effort and resources into advertising through tag. It just seems a bit odd that people are saying like AI is the future, but that's what AGS said. So why is it now we forget about AGS and it's all about tag, even though the main core argument for folks is AI grading, right? So that just seems kind of odd to me. The second one is, again, leaning back, and you're kind of seeing a theme here with some of my observations, more of like the social media aspect, is when tag does return their cards in those bags, a lot of social media folks that I personally have seen on my homepage, on my For You page, on whatever, is that they're used as mystery bags, essentially. So as a consumer, for me personally, as a consumer, I think, oh, tag is associated with a really clever way of making a mystery product that I don't know as a consumer what's in it. I don't know how I feel about that, to be quite honest with you. So as a consumer, for me, I don't really like mystery bags that most people design, because a lot of them, like the ratio of return is skewed more towards you losing than winning. And I'm not a big fan of that being in the like obviously like you can do that with everything, right? Like the PSA, like there's people who do it all the time. They make their custom boxes, they put the PSA slab into it to then make their box. But that's outside of PSA's control, where Tag does that as a service. And so whether or not like kind of using the needle on whether or not that's a good or bad business decision will ultimately weigh in on what the community as a whole habitually thinks when they see a Tag bag. For me personally, I think of them as a way to use it as a mystery product if sold through an online space. That's the caveat. If you're just sending it for yourself, obviously it doesn't matter. But for the most part, that's what I've seen. The other part of Tag that I'm not too sure of, and I think it's really less of Tag, but again, going back to my AGS point, like people kind of hard correcting from AGS to Tag, is this idea that AI should be the end all be all of grading. Now I understand, and trust me, as a person who has received grades that I truly have felt that they have not done their due diligence to check certain areas. I have a Dustclop EX in here that got a PSA 7 that should have gotten at least a 5 with a big dent down the middle of it. I think that it should be a combination and a bigger discussion on having human and AI being involved, because having one extreme or the other isn't healthy just in general. Because I think there should be like checks and balances of certain things. I think having that kind of, like, for example, PSA really desperately needs better quality control at the tail end of the grading process. So that's where AI could really be a huge impact and a huge opportunity to be introduced to PSA, Beckett, or CGC. I think AI would be an excellent tool towards the end of that process. Now for Tag or AGS or whatever other grading company that's going to promote only AI grading, I still think that there should be an element of people to check the AI, because everything in technology it's really hot right now to throw AI at everything, like literally everything. And so the speed in which AI is being introduced is exposing the potential opportunities for there to be an error if left unchecked by a person that is aware of that space to say like, hey, you're kind of on the right path, but that's not entirely correct. A good example that I can give, and obviously is a very extreme example, is like say for a hospital, right? AI has been starting to get introduced into hospitals to quickly diagnose certain ailments, like certain cancers or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not just the AI saying like, oh, that thing in you is deadly, like do something about it. There's still a human doctor that reviews that AI's interpretation of what they're seeing to ultimately verify its findings. Because the person is just verifying that same thing, but at a much faster rate, because AI has done a majority of the legwork. But it's the human, it's the person that still has to carry the torch across the finish line, for example. So that's why, again, I like when people are like so in the sand of like it should be one or the other, there shouldn't be a in between or a partnership between human and AI. That's where I tend to be like, well, let's pause for a second. Like, it's not just AI that should be doing it. There should be a combination of the two. And anyone that's trying to tell you, nope, it should be AI, nothing else, that should at least introduce a degree of skepticism in what the product is. If they're telling you this is the way, there's no other way of doing it, this is end all be all. So see, I didn't dump on Tag. I'm just saying as a whole, that's kind of my general opinion on it. I don't hate them, but for me personally, like if you're gonna ask me why, like would I ever grade with Tag, my answer would be no, because at the end of the day, I do this as a business, and at the time of this video or this stream rather, PSA has a higher return on your investment, even though they have their flaws, right? Like we've talked about it, we've seen it We've seen their flaws, we've seen their inconsistencies, but at the end of the day, until the market and the community decides differently, I am always going to grade through PSA no matter what. That just is what it is. People can argue it, people can say no, they're like you're wrong or whatever, but the data does not lie. Is that with the exception of a black label for BGS or CGC, that's just is what it is. Now again, I like the look of tag. The tag slabs look cool. Like for a personal collection, if I wanted to just have, because I'm not a big fan of like mixing grading companies like in a collection like PSA, CGC, Beckett, or I don't know, tag. Like I don't like a bunch of different slabs in a collection. So if I were to like redo it, and for my personal, maybe I would stick with tag because I just like how they look. But it'd probably be more no than yeah. So that's kind of my opinion on tag. So I think if they correct those, I think it's great. But so yeah, that's pretty much my opinion on it. Tag AGS perfect for PCs. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty, like I said, I mean, and it's, you know, it just seems very odd that that AGS is like fallen off the face of the planet, at least from what is fed to me from social media. I don't know. It just seems odd. Does no one else think that's kind of odd? Or are you guys, do you guys see that at all? Like people not kind of talking about AGS anymore? It seems like it's like no one talks about it anymore. I like every post that you see or like any comment that I see in a video is like tag could have done this better, or like tag whatever, tag this, tag that. Where like last year it was the same thing, like remove the tag and just put PS and put AGS in there. Yeah, that's so funny. They opened a new facility in Miami and they went through ownership change from what I hear. Oh, okay. They don't even message me anymore. I used to get, yeah, it just seems so weird. It just seems so odd. I don't know. Again, I haven't really looked into it because it's like for my business, like it doesn't really do me much to know about it. So I haven't really like looked into the history or the what's going on with AGS or tag. But let's see. I'm just seeing if you guys said anything. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna take a while for someone to dethrone PSA. I think from a resale perspective. I think it's gonna take a very long time. But who knows? I use AGS and I'll say since the new changes ownership, the quality went up. Well, that's good. Thoughts on these pop-up grading machines by tag grading your cards while you're in the machine? Pop-up grading machines. Interesting. My thoughts on it. I mean, I guess like the pro is that you're introducing a higher level of convenience. But the question is, does the market, like at that point, that's a good thought. I don't know. I really don't know. I'll have to think about that one. I think that one's a good, because I have to, honestly, it's the first time I'm hearing about it. So I have to kind of sit on that for a little bit, I think. Is it bad if I've gotten no order number yet? They have had my cards for about a month. And it says, let's see. They will. They're just so backlogged. Just keep checking. Just keep checking your status. The market itself will die down if we only buy retail. Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends, right? Because like if it's just AI, like if you're into, like I think if you're just into the AI and you don't really care about like getting it like checked or whatever, but I mean the same argument could be just by the person too. Like you're not really caring what the person grades it at, right? So I think if you really have like good faith in the AI component and tag does like a good job, then I don't see why it would be bad. But let's see. Market itself will die down if we only buy resell. Yeah, dude, scalpers are. I could talk about that for another 30 minutes. What do you do to prepare cards for PSA? Let me. There should be a site. Hold on. 1 second. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. But it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. But if you guys wanna keep throwing me questions, man, I'll get grade review ready. I think that was a really good. I think that was a long time coming for me to say my tag opinion. But if there's anything else you guys want me to talk about, I'm a certified yapper, so I'm definitely down to give my thoughts about pretty much anything. Let's see, submission center. Yeah, so if you just go to, if you go to their meant like cleaning. Oh, if you meant for cleaning, then I would just go to some of my pinned videos, like card cleaning in my TikTok. I have a whole playlist and it goes over everything. A certified. I don't even want to begin to guess what that acronym means, to be quite honest with you. I don't know if I'm gonna get like baited or something. Should I get Ultra Pro or Cardboard Gold Card Savers Ascendant for grading? You should whatever semi-rigid top loaders is what I would use, and I don't. Well, actually, I do. So like these, for example, like I just use Card Savers. I mean, you can use whatever, but I just use these. That's it. That's all I use. Honestly, I don't even know what Ace is. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I feel like the boom is based off of a famous YouTuber more than anything. Are you talking about for just Pokemon in general? I think it definitely has introduced it, but I also think, like me personally, I think a really big contributing factor has been the success of Pokemon Pocket. I think not enough people are kind of bringing that as a factor in the the rising boom of the market right now, because it's brought a lot of people kind of back into it, very similar to Pokemon Go. Review grading company, BCTC. Yeah, there's way too many for me to keep track of. To be honest, I've never heard of that one either. Always slap company is all for money. Yeah, I mean, it's weird, man. Like this Zard, for example, this one, I'm not kidding. So this is like around, it was like 420 for market on TCG Player. I bought this card as a, what was it? A PSA 7. And near mint is around this 420, this 400 mark. This I won at for 270 on auction. And just because it was in plastic in an undesired grade, it's worth less than me just cracking it and selling it as near mint. So I totally feel that. I totally feel that statement for sure. But anyway, let us get into some grade review. And if you guys want to talk about anything else or my opinion on anything, we'll just keep an open dialogue. I'll just keep yapping away. But we got some grades to look at. Speaking of grading, we're in Galaxia Gaming grading now. So we're in GGG. What about that, chat? What about G3? We'll call that G3 grading. Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's a good if you guys ever want good ways, like if you are an ungraded or raw collector, look for PSA 6s, PSA 7s, because they are extremely undervalued. In most cases, they're extremely undervalued compared to their raw counterpart. G3 grading, I don't know. Here that guy only gives 9s. Dude, I give like 6s. I'll give a conservative. You'll just see on the slab, you'll just see conservative 8. that's what you'll see. You'll see conservative 8. Be the first person to introduce conservative. Or if you wipe this off, if you wipe this dust bunny off, it would have gotten a 9 and have that all on the slab. Maybe that's the wave. Maybe that's my future in this hobby, chat, is just to start my own. Why not? Everyone else is starting a grading company. Why not just start mine? The hell do I know? Oh, gotcha, Phoenix. Yeah, I would just say just anything that's anything that is marked as a semi-rigid is what I would stick with. All right, chat. It just died. Not time for that, because we just beat that. We sped run that. It's time to look at some cards, because the homies have been waiting patiently, such as Mike, who is a subscriber. So I appreciate that, Mike, as always. Do I prefer a PSA 9 or BGS 9? I am a PSA fanboy through and through, from a business perspective. So I mean, I just stick with PSA. So I guess PSA would be my answer. But yeah, if you guys want to talk about anything else, let me know. I will continue to yap. But yeah, G-Cube grading, man. And I appreciate, as I was kind of rambling on there, we got a lot of new followers. So if I missed you, I appreciate you following. And anyone who has been liking the live, sharing the live, I definitely appreciate that as well. It always means a lot that you guys value what I have to say to a degree. Or, you know, regardless, and if you agree or disagree, I'm always open to talking about stuff. So definitely means a lot. All right, so if this is your first time here, guys, welcome. Normally during this week, every Wednesday, we look at community members' cards, and I'll give my assessment on what I think they would get as a PSA grade. So you don't have to submit to PSA and they give you a grade back and you have no idea why they gave it the grade that they did. So I get, like, you know, I don't work for PSA, but, you know, this is all the lessons that I've learned grading through them, and I just try to apply it to what you're about to see. So appreciate you guys hanging out with me. If you guys want to talk about anything or have any questions about literally anything, we just got done talking about tag. We just got done talking about some potential opportunities for improvement for single claim sellers. And yeah, we're just going to keep chugging along. So first up for episode 55, my man Mike, as a starting off with the subscribers for tonight. So I appreciate you very much, as always, Mike. And let's get into it with it. With the high print quality that is Japanese cards. So the centering looks phenomenal. The holo looks really good. I think I remember last time your cards were in really good shape too, which is always a good thing. The back, I think, looks great, man. I think that whatever this little bit of fuzz or something, you probably just wipe that off. I think you should be good there. The centering is in really good shape. The only thing that I'd recommend, you can kind of see how it's kind of curling a little bit or bowing. No, I wouldn't say it for this big Jess. I wouldn't say that this is damage per se, because this is kind of like if your card kind of got stuck out like in humidity or something and it kind of naturally curls. It's not damage because you can easily flatten that out by, you know, putting in a penny sleeve, putting in a heavy book, and just kind of pressing it down. You could probably get rid of that. So I'm not too worried about it. That won't clean off on the card. Oh, this little white dot won't. Okay, so that won't go off. So I'd imagine, so if it's just a speck, that wouldn't be a dent. So I'd probably say, you know, you're probably at like a 9. because of that, because it is kind of stuck onto the card, or it's removed from it. Because the centering is really good. The hollow is extremely clean, right? You don't see any scratches or anything insane. The centering is really good on the front. Centering is really good on the back. But if that is a dent or a ding or something like that, you're probably going into that 8 to 7 range if that is like an impact, because dents do have a pretty significant impact on the overall score of the card. So I would say if it's just something, to me, it just looks like a little bit of fuzz. If it equates to that in person, you're probably looking at a 9. On a harsh day, an 8. But if that has like an actual like indentation or something like that, since the rest of the card is pretty much flawless, to be honest, you're probably looking at like a 8 to a 7 at the worst for that. But the hollow is extremely clean for that Slowpoke, or that Slowbro. Next up for Ralligator, let's see if this is. So it looks like we have some bit of dirt here by the water symbol, by the water energy, towards the left side here. You probably get rid of that. How can I show you a card? Just let me finish this for Alligator, or if one of the moderators wants to help out Skipper, I'd appreciate that too. If not, let me finish this for Alligator. But the centering looks great. A really nice swirl here. If you guys are new, I'm a big fan of the swirl pattern, so super stoked for that. Hollow looks great. I think if we can just get rid of those 2 black dots, we probably would be in good shape. Again, the curling, probably just flatten that out. Corners look good. The edge looks good. There might be some whitening there, but I just based off of the picture, if these are curled, it's kind of going closer to the camera, so I probably would say no than yes in terms of that being whitening. So yeah, again, flatten that out. But I would say probably remove these if you can. Then you're looking good. I would say if you can remove those 2 black dots to the left of the water energy, I think this is a pretty good 10 contender. I'm not seeing any other scratches. The centering was looking great both on the front and the back. No white in corners, no white in edges. Again, you also have to flatten it out. If you can't remove those towards the water energy, you're probably looking at like an 8, because it is on the front of the card, where the kind of that visual has a little bit more of a significant impact because it's on the front of the surface. Because I wouldn't consider that mint, but I'd probably say an 8 if you cannot clean these. But if you can, and it's easy to remove, you got a pretty good shot at a 10, my friend, for that one for sure. And in addition to flattening it out. Skipper, first, thank you for the follow. So the Discord link, yeah, so like what Rod is saying, if you go into the into the bio of the TikTok, just go to my link tree. From there, you'll go to the Discord, which is this icon right here. So click or tap that, and it'll send you through, and you'll see the grade review channel, and just submit your cards there. Okay, so let's look at this Grimer. Probably one of my favorite, like the CGI, like digital artwork of Pokemon, just for like the sheer gasp of the game. Like, how can you not love that Grimer just looking like that, banished into the swamp? Okay, so a quick disclaimer. So when I measure centering on e-readers, I traditionally only focus on the top here and the right here, and basically kind of do like a, I guess like a diagonal line here. And that was awful. Try that again. Let's shift. There we go. So I kind of do like a diagonal line from the corner and kind of measure it in this direction. So if it looks good, kind of like this, you can kind of see it split up. So if that is roughly 50-50, that's kind of how I measure the centering for e-readers, because obviously the left here compared to the right is huge, and the bottom to the top is huge. But aside from that, the corners look good. The hollow looks good, and I'm seeing, yeah, so I'm thinking Big Jess, just for how the reverse hollow, and I think Mike just clarified, since it is reverse, there are going to be some instances where kind of the lighting effect is going to make it visually an issue, but I can see what you're talking about, like this kind of this dark patch looking like a dent. And that's what's kind of nice if you are going to get your cards graded, like being present in chat allows us to kind of bounce these ideas off you or bounce these observations off of you to verify if it's actually what we're seeing. But I'm not seeing any print lines, which is huge on a reverse hollow, so that's phenomenal. The right side's a little bit dark, but I think we have enough to make some decisions here. So we have a little bit of whitening here on the top left, and mild, it's like fringe, because it's not necessarily whitening removed. It almost looks like there's like extra cardstock stuck onto the edge of the card. And actually I've gotten some back that have kind of reduced the grade because of that. Additionally, I have some whitening there in the bottom left-hand corner as well. But the top right have a little bit there as well. But the left, not too sure on that right side. So it's a little bit tough, like what you're saying. So I'd probably say if this is like kind of extra stuff stuck on the side on this left edge and the whitening on the bottom and the top, you're probably looking at an 8 because of it. Only because I'm basing that off of some recent submissions in addition to some whitening here on that top right corner. So we have 1, 2, 3 corners that have potential whitening in addition to having some extra material kind of sticking off the edge of the card here. So you're probably leaning more towards an 8. I think it would be a long shot 9. I would be actually kind of surprised if you got the 9 because of those. If everything is present from what I'm talking about, that's in person, but that's just kind of my observation on that. Steven, thank you for the follow on TikTok. I appreciate you very much. Let me take a quick sip of coffee here. As a certified yapper, got to keep refilling. So Lugia V-Star. Centering looks really good on the left to right, top to bottom. Corners look good. I'm not noticing, that's one thing that I've noticed with some of my more modern submissions is that I have to do better at really looking at some of the texture to see if there are any weird indentations. It's kind of difficult to yes, YS. Yep, people send me pictures in the Discord and I basically just do a live assessment to kind of give you guys a better understanding on what I personally think, just based off of my own experiences, what your cards could potentially get if graded through PSA. So I've been grading through PSA for a while and I always record what I think they would get, and then I basically just adjust my accuracy from there. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to do better at, is identifying any weird indents. But again, we're taking pictures of these cards, so it kind of makes it difficult from time to time, but the centering of the corners look good. Yeah, the centering in the corners look good on this one as well, on the back. So I would say, unless there's something weird like dimpling or anything like that on the texture of this front of this Lugia V-Star, I think you have a pretty good shot at a 10 for this one. So I would probably submit that for sure. And then the Roarmeister. Yeah, I think so too, Big Jess, because sometimes, like, I've seen, again, this is a complete transparency, for some of the more modern cards that have come back as like 8s or 9s, I try to do my due diligence to kind of know like why I think it probably could have. And sometimes it's really just kind of those like little weird pockets. When I'm done with this roaring YS, I'll let you know how to submit. You picked it up at a show. Yeah, it was definitely a good pickup, man. They there are, again, if you guys follow this stuff and like follow like some of the observations that we're kind of talking about collectively and some of the things that I point out, for sure you can kind of go out to some of these shows yourself or go to local game stores and basically do a live grade review yourself to figure out whether or not you're picking up a potential grading play or not. Let's see. So the centering on this one looking good. There's nothing that I need to bust out the ruler for. It looks pretty straightforward. Again, texturing is pretty wild, so we can't really see too much on this. So the front looks great. I would say the only thing that I would probably measure, and we'll have to bust it out here to the best of my ability, is we're going to just measure that left side to the right. So again, what you guys are about to see me do, and this is my very loose attempt at measuring a card on the internet. So we're going to do our due diligence here. So we're going to zoom in here. So the first thing that I'm looking at, so to kind of talk through this, so this is a good way to measure your cards in person, but I'll kind of do it with an example here. So I have my ruler here. So I'm right at this inch marker. So if we kind of go across, and I'll just kind of mark it just for consistency's sake, I'll just call them ticks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tick marks on the left. And if we go to the right and adjust the angle, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 to 6. So I would say, you know, out of 12, you know, like we're pretty much within that 50-50 range, meaning that, like, you know, you add the tick marks from the left, which was 6. Just again, I know they're, you know, 1/8 of an inch or whatever, but just for ease of explanation. So there's 6 tick marks on the left and about 5.5 on the right. So I'll probably call that 12. So, you know, you're within that 55-45 range. So if you divide, you know, 6 by 11.5, you'd get, so 6 divided by 11.5, you'd get 52. So it's roughly, the ratio would be 52-48 left to right. And so that's what when we talk about measuring, that's what it would look like on the back, which on the back, I believe the updated measurements are, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, 60-40 now. So I think the back is from what I'm measuring on a monitor, as I have to emphasize that you're within that 60-40 range. From what I can tell. Yeah, back is 60-40, because I know 70-30 was like such a huge difference. But the corners look good. Corners look really sharp. Really not noticing anything there. The only thing that I'll measure actually is this right side, because although we are thinking that this left side is a little bit thicker, it does actually translate to the front. So let me measure that real quick too, just to kind of do my due diligence here. So if we were to measure, let's see. So we'll start with the left first. So if we measure on that, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tick marks on the left. And then on the right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. So I think you're good. So yeah, 48-52. So it's the same on the front and the back. So what we measured, it's 50-48 roughly. So you're still within that 55-45 based off of the measurements we're doing right now. So you should be good in that range. So I think if all looks good and we haven't been able to see any other issues on paper, this looks to be a good submission. Is really, but yeah, the left, right, on the back, and then the front is right to left, but it's technically is within that 55-45 and 60-40. So unless there's something within the texture that we're not seeing, I don't see how this wouldn't be eligible for a 10 based off of those standards. let's see. So I'm going to catch up. So a few of you have been asking, so I'll go through real quick on how to submit your cards if you guys are interested. So if you go into my link in my bio or in my description, whether you're watching me on YouTube or TikTok tonight, you'll see my link tree. So you go there. Once you're at my link tree, just click or tap the Discord icon. It'll send you to the Discord. In there, you'll see a grade review channel. So once you're in the grade review channel, you submit your cards. You can submit as many as you want. At the end of the day, this is always going to be a free service. But the only restrictions is that just make sure to follow the rules on how to submit your cards. So for example, Mike does a really good job here, taking very clear pictures of the front and the back without them being in a sleeve or top loader. Because if there's a scratch present and it's in a sleeve, I don't know if the scratch is on the sleeve, if it's on the card, I don't know. So just have them out. Otherwise, I will have to skip you and wait for you to retake your pictures. Additionally, out of all the cards you can submit as many as you want, but I'll only review, like say, for example, if you submit 10 for one stream, I'll only review up to 5. So it's 5 per person per stream. And it is first come, first serve. So there is a little bit of a queue right now because there is a lot of people that are kind of waiting for their turn to be on. But one of the benefits that Mike is taking advantage of, and not only does he help me support my stream and making content for you guys and whatever, he is a Discord subscriber, which gives him priority grade review every week over the non-subscribers. In addition, there's some entries for some giveaways that are exclusive that we just finished one last week. But that's how you do it. Betty, how's it going? Hopefully your nap was good. We just got done. We actually had like a lot to talk about in the beginning. We were talking about some tag grading. We were talking about the new website that I'm going to be showcasing on Monday with a bunch of really cool cards. Going to play some Pokemon Pocket later tonight, so hopefully you're around for that too. Just chilling out. We're just hanging out. It's a good vibe. I'm feeling good vibes for episode 55. But oh yeah, Betty, take a gander. Just it's not complete yet. I'm gonna do like a grand opening on Monday, which includes a discount code for everything. So it's good. I'm super stoked. I'm super stoked for Monday, for sure. But who knows? I might even be too excited and do it Sunday, to be honest. I'm not too sure. Ready to party. And Dylan. Thank you guys for following. Appreciate you. I don't know why that took me so long. Yeah, Mike, thank you so much for being a sub, man. I really do appreciate the support. And you'll definitely have to let me know as the winner of the giveaway. It got delayed because of President's Day, which was on Monday. But you'll have to let me know what you get out of your mystery box. I'm always excited to see what you guys pull out of those. Because I tried to do my best, man. I tried doing my best to make a mystery box that just wasn't a big scam. And again, I don't know if it's possible. If it's not, I think it was. I think it was a pretty good crack at it. But we'll see. All right, so I gotta scroll up through the wall of text. Yes. The Gibby winner. And there's some other, yeah, you'll have to let me know, Betty, how you like the site if you take a look at it. I was actually talking about it. I didn't realize how hard it was just to have something as simple as filtering, like to sort cards by name or price. Oh, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And if you guys are on the site, gonna be hopefully doing a pre-order for some hoodies. Got that coming up. Got a lot of cool stuff going on. But anyway. Now to the non-subs. So we're going to finish off the real Skip. He submitted 6 cards, so this is his last card until we keep moving on. It's not done. That was probably really bad wordage. I should not have said that. We're not done. But this was his last submission in this group here. So let's take a look at the Shadowless Nidoking. So let's take a look. There's a lot to unpack here, chat. This one's gonna be a certified Galaxia Gaming Yap session. Where do I even begin? Corners are pretty rough. This right corner is pretty rough. This top edge is pretty rough. I think because of all these, I think we should have enough. Yeah, so we have enough people for chat. Grade review. Semi, what's going on, man? Always nice to see you. Welcome in, welcome in. So once I look at the front and the back, guys, I'm going to open this up for chat grade. So you guys are going to be able to weigh in on what you think this card's going to get, as well as myself. So definitely pay attention here. So the right corner has some silvering. There's a pretty big gash up there on the top for some silvering. What appears to be a fold in that top left corner. And as we kind of make our way along this left side, this is classic silvering. Additionally, there is a pretty big bend here, because my guess as to why I think it's a bend, you kind of see some of this shadowing here along that yellow border. So that obviously is going to have a pretty significant impact on the grade. We just have a lot of, this thing has been in every pocket of every playground in America. Clay, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you, man. That bottom right corner, silvered. Yeah, this was definitely the big dog on a playground for sure. Some scratches across the text, some major battle scars there by the 30 plus. A nasty print line going through the top. Looks like a ring binder mark. Ooh, interesting. I think that's the first time someone has actually commented that on whether or not it could be, because I've heard about that, like how they can cause dents or whatever in the corners. So it could be. Has some scratches here. Have a little bit going into the mouth there. Pretty loved for sure. And now we flip it over to the back, and I have no idea what this mystery substance is, nor do I want to try to learn what it is. So this could probably be a pretty good candidate for cleaning, but I think cleaning really won't improve the overall, grade of the card, because there's a lot going on. But if you need some stuff to review, I mean, I'm always down to see some stuff, man. Feel free to submit. And there's some more bending for sure. It almost translates. No, it's more towards the bottom. Probably, man. Ripper has you're probably not wrong, to be honest. The queue is closed for tonight. Yeah, Harrison. But the faster you submit, the better place you'll have in a queue for a future grade. Because I do this every Wednesday. This is our episode 55. We've been doing this 55 times, so it's not stopping anytime soon. Yeah, so not only yeah, but what happens if, like, so Mike and Ripper, hear me out. You know, like how Aerodactyl has the amber? Maybe this is an Aerodactyl. Maybe that's Aerodactyl DNA that you're encapsulating. And all you gotta do is send it to some scientist on an island, and he'll extract that Aerodactyl booger juice and just make an actual Pokemon. You ever think about that? Maybe it's better to leave the Aerodactyl booger on there for the future. Just saying. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. You guys are half glass empty, so change your perspective. Let's see. So the edges are pretty softened for sure. We got a lot of softening on that top part. Is there a channel in the Discord for just seeing what other people think? Yeah, Harrison, you can definitely submit. People submit in the grade review all the time, or in the media channel. You can do that. But yeah, if people are open to it, I mean, I'm never objecting people saying like, hey, what does the community think? Like, I have no objection to it at all. So yeah, you can still put it in the grade review and just ask. Let's see. Yeah, there's just whitening pretty much all around this card. Top, bottom, left, right. More booger juice all across the card here. Just Graham, thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate you. So yeah, chat, you guys have some work to do. So now that you saw the front and the back, we definitely have enough people for chat grade. So if you guys want to vote on what you think this Nidoking would get, type in ! grade followed by the number you think this Nidoking would get as a PSA grade. So again, that's ! grade followed by the number if you want your vote to count, whether you're watching me on YouTube or TikTok. All the votes will get compiled, and then the winning vote will be the chat grade. So we're basically collecting the hive mind's idea on what this card would get. So here's the back of the Nidoking, or the front of the Nidoking, and then here is the back of the Nidoking. And so again, ! grade followed by the number if you want your grade to be submitted, and then the winning vote will be the chat grade. And so while you guys are, it doesn't matter, Mike. You can have a space, you can not have a space. It doesn't matter. L Junior, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Jad, how can I get you to look at my card? If you just want to wait until I'm done with this Nidoking, which shouldn't be much longer, I'll go through the process because I'm sure you're not going to be the only one wondering. Like Ethan just proved me correctly. Yeah, so just hold off for a little bit. Once I'm done with this Nidoking, just remind me and I'll go through it. It won't take that long. But all right, so I'll leave the poll open for another 30 seconds or so. Again, if you want to vote on what you think this Nidoking would get, there's the front and there's the back. Just type in ! grade followed by the number. And I'll keep it open for another 30 seconds. And as I'm waiting, if you guys don't mind to share or follow or like the live, I really much appreciate it. It shows me that you guys like this style of content and keeps me educated on whether or not you guys like watching and like my input on this stuff. Because at the end of the day, I'm doing it for you guys. And I think it's really cool for the community to kind of get together and try to navigate this craziness that is the Pokemon TCG currently. So any love and support is really appreciated. I really do. Really appreciate you guys. What tool are you using to measure the cards for centering? So during stream, I have to kind of make it easy to see, right? So I just use the snipping tool baked into Windows, and it has a ruler. So just as an example, like here, you kind of have like a ruler and just measure the left and the right. But that's pretty much it. But then in person, I just use like a transparent ruler with millimeter markers. All right, so let me close the poll. Let me see what you guys are thinking. So you guys are thinking, so a large majority of you guys are thinking a PSA 3. So let me just kind of mark that visually here with my little pen tool. So chat, you guys are thinking a 3. So there's that. Okay. Ben, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. What PSA grade for that? Well, we're about to find out. Well, chat thinks it's going to be a 3. So now it's my turn to kind of help provide a degree of an average. So first off, for this Nidoking, it is off center from the left to the right. So the centering is going to be an issue to start. But it's pretty self-explanatory for the most of it. So all 4 corners and all 4 edges have pretty notable damage. So we even have some there on the top. This corner is being folded slightly. There's a pretty noticeable fold here in the left side. A lot of battle scars here all across the text, all across the Nidoking. We have a nasty print line on top there. We have some scratches going into the mouth, have some scratches going across the body and the leg. There's just a lot of general wear and tear on this card, more so than we probably should have. In addition, I've noted both on the front, so the front there's at least 1 crease, but on the back it looks like there is 1, 2 in this section and 3, which this third one lines up with what we saw on, I think it should line up, at least we're here. Maybe not so much, but I'll at least see 1, 2, 3 points of bends. Additionally, you know, there's all this, I don't even know what, this mystery substance across the text and near the Pokeball, all of which can get cleaned, you know, with a microfiber towel or a Q-tip into some distilled water. But this card is so far gone that it really, you know, at the end of the day, it really wouldn't matter. It wouldn't like improve the grade drastically. But all four corners and all four edges are pretty significantly whitened. So, you know, I think, is it worth, like, so here's kind of where I kind of put the flag to start. Do I think it's worse than moderately played, or kind of how I equate it to PSA 5? Yes, I think it's worse than that. So we're kind of like 4-1. I don't think it would get a PSA 1. So I'm really kind of leaning more towards, and again, you guys were kind of going back and forth too, between a 3 and a 2. And man, it's pretty tough, man. I do not have a lot of 3s and 2s under my belt. But I think this card could be a little bit worse to get the 2. So I would probably agree with you guys that I think a 3 is a pretty good guess based off of the issues that we're seeing, both on the front and the back. So I think a 3 for both myself and chat, I think is a pretty good assessment. So chat, you guys were thinking a 3. And I am also thinking a 3 as well. So yeah, so now, before I forget, there's a few of you who are wondering how to submit your cards for a grade review. And so all you have to do is, again, it's a completely free service. All you have to do is just go into my bio. So you'll see a Linktree link. Next, all you have to do is, once you're here, just click or tap that Discord icon. It will then redirect you to the Discord, and you'll see a grade review channel. So once you're there, you just submit your cards in the grade review. Just make sure that it's out of top loaders and sleeves, because if there's a scratch, I don't know if it's on the top loader, if it's on the sleeve, I have no idea. So if you can take it out of there, that'd be awesome, because otherwise I'll have to unfortunately ask you to retake it and you lose your spot in queue. No one wants that. So you can submit as many as you want, absolutely for free, but it is first come, first serve. I look at 5 cards per person per stream. So if you submit 10, and it's your turn, I'll only review 5 of them that week, and then the next week I would review the other 5, just as an example. So once you click the Discord icon, you go to the grade review channel, have your cards go into there. However, there are some of you who actually want to have your cards graded faster, and the Discord server does offer a subscription that not only gives you priority grade review every week. So first I grade the subscribers cards first, and then I shift over back to the non-subscribers. So if that interests you, the cheapest package is $4.99 a month. In addition, there's some other cool perks like subscriber exclusive giveaways and some other fun stuff that I have in the works coming up soon. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, so the links are in the bio again, to get to the link tree on what you're seeing right now. And yeah, hope to see you there. So again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We already broke 5K likes. I appreciate the love, guys, really do. So yeah, that's a good question, Hi. So every week, I post a grade review queue. So you'll see when you're looking at the grade review channel, I have an episode 55 thread, and in that thread should show who is up for the queue for the day. So as long as you have your notifications enabled to where if someone @s you or mentions you in a Discord, you'll be notified on when your card is being reviewed. So as long as you have those settings enabled, you'll be notified if you are up for the week. No, we're just starting, Chris. We're just starting. Well, you're awesome, Hi. How about that? Appreciate the love and support, guys. I really do. All right. Next up, we got the how would we know in the Discord when the grade review would be? Yeah, so I do this every Wednesday. So every Wednesday starting, normally I start at 7, but I've been getting done earlier with just like chores and stuff around the house. So I've been starting at 6:30 for the last few weeks. But normally at the latest I'll start at 7, but sometimes I'll start at 6:30. But it's every Wednesday, Eastern Standard Time, depending on where you're at. So, all right. So next up, we have Happy Trash. Very interesting name. And we're going to be looking at some Japanese Gym Hero, right? Yeah. I think that's from Gym Hero, but the Japanese equivalent. So let's take a look. So little off center from the left to the right. The top right corner looks okay. Top left corner looks good. And so as we kind of go counterclockwise, we have a little bit of a bend here on that bottom left side. Have a little bit of whitening here. And actually, I'm probably going to mark these so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So we have a little bit of a fold there. A little bit of whitening there. Let's see. The bottom corner is okay. The right side, a little bit of some issue there, possibly, but I don't know if that's part of the artwork. And yeah, not much else to look at here. YS, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Chris, thanks for liking the live as always. Appreciate you very much. The back, yeah, I'm not too sure how much this would be worth, Rit, to be quite honest with you. Not for this condition, probably not too much, to be quite honest. Scott, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Yeah, off center again, kind of translating over those off center on that left side, translating over to the right. Definitely black chili for sure. So you can kind of see what Happy did here. Granted, the binder has textured, so sometimes it kind of makes it hard. But if you can take a picture behind like a black background or something solid that isn't white, it helps me kind of see, you know, for example, this bottom corner, right? Having it be against a black background really allows me to see if there's whitening. So kind of keep it dark, keep it a solid color. Good lighting, stuff like that. I have examples. If you looked at the pin messages in the grade review, there's also some examples too to look at in case you're worried or nervous about taking pictures or whatever. So definitely check that out too. So yeah, a little bit off center. Yeah, you're good, Skipper. I'm sure I'll let you know. You should be fine. As long as I can see it, it's not like you're taking it like a picture at like 60 miles an hour, like whipping your phone across. In most cases, I should be able to figure it out. It doesn't have to be black, but as you know. Let's see. So there are some surface scratches on the back here. You can kind of see here across the N and Monster. Grom, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. So yeah. So let's see. So to keep things moving along here, because we're just shy, I'm going to give my assessment here. So the front, you know, we're kind of in that, the front, we're a little off center on the left to the right. And actually, I think it's good because, again, if you guys haven't heard the news, PSA has updated their centering guidelines. So on the front, is actually 55-45 instead of 60-40. So just as an example, what that means is if I zoom in here, I'm gonna take the ruler here right along this inch mark. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, just above 4. So we'll call it 4 for now. And if we zoom on this side, we have 1, 2, 3.5. So if I do 4 divided by 7.5, it's 53. So we're just within that 55-45 range. So the centering, even though it's a little bit off center from the left to the right, on paper, we should be good. I do this every Wednesday, Badger. Every Wednesday, normally between 6:30 to 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And if you wait when I'm done with this submission, I can go over how to have how you can submit your cards unless someone wants to help them out in chat. I appreciate that too. But the centering is good. The only thing that I noted on the front was this little corner lip on the bottom left, as well as this ding on the bottom there. We do have a little bit of whitening or something kind of scratched across there on the front. And as we flip it over, we have what appears to be a little bit of a fold here as well. So we're kind of like we're starting to kind of get out of that PSA 7 range, because we also have some surface issues on the back, as well as we have some whitening here on the bottom left hand corner as well. So we're kind of getting around in addition rather, it's a little off center on that right side than the left. So we're starting to get into that 6 to 5 range. I would probably say, because I have seen on some cards like these little folds, like if they're just that, like get 7. So I'd probably say with the minimal whitening on the back, but with those minimal like bends or folds, in addition to the surface, you're probably looking at between a 6 and a 5. I would say from like, if I were to submit, I'd probably, or like not submit, if I were to try to sell this raw, I'd probably lean more towards a 6 than a 5. But I would say, you know, you're probably within that light play to moderately play, unless there's something that we're not seeing on the front here. But that's probably, my gut would probably be a 6 more than a 5. Because the hollow looked very saturated, so it was pretty difficult to see if there's any like deeper scratches. If there were, then I probably reduce that to a 5. So just kind of take note of that as well. Like this Brock, for example, I know this Brock, for example, is holographic, but just due to how highly saturated the image is, it's tough to see some other notable scratches other than this one, of course, through the back badge here. But so let's look. Oh, we just hit 6K likes. Thank you guys so much over on TikTok. Appreciate you guys as always. Yes, and like what Chris said, if you guys are joining the Discord and you're concerned or having issues with where to go, definitely reach out to a moderator. You can just @ moderator in the general chat. Someone would be more than happy to help you out. So yeah, I definitely appreciate all the likes, follows, and shares. If I missed you, I appreciate you very much. Again, if you guys have any questions, we're pretty much just going through a grade review right now, where I help the community try to give some more insight on, you know, both what their card could possibly get as a PSA grade, in addition to what I'm actually seeing, because that's one of the big issues. We're actually talking about it earlier this stream, is the lack of transparency with PSA, with not really telling you exactly what they're looking at, unless you buy their really insane like $200 per card submission tier. They'll give you greater notes, but I'm not charging you $200. This is a completely free service. If you guys want to submit your cards in the Discord, definitely do so. But anyway, on to the Brock. It looks well centered. Brock looks well centered, excuse me. A little bit of some whitening there near the bolt in the top left. Top right corner looks good. Top left corner looks good. Bottom corner looks good. Some dings there on the bottom. Some scratches here by the badge, but nothing too crazy. Nothing crazy outside of a 7. I don't know. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. So we have okay corners on the top right from what I can tell, but again, it's kind of white, it's kind of washed out with the lighting, so I'm not too sure. Sari, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Corner on the top left looking good. Left edge looks fine. A little bit of whitening on the bottom. But the thing I'm not too sure about, and to me, let me actually flip it over to see if I can get any signs. So basically what I'm looking at is this right here. So I don't know if that's a bend or not. My guess is that is a yes more than a no, just because of kind of how like broken apart it looks, if that makes sense. That's the best way I can kind of explain it. But right here, I'll kind of highlight it with my pen tool here. So within this green kind of highlighted area, that's where I don't know if that's a bend or not. If that is a bend, then that's pretty significant. But if it's not, like if it's just like a scuffed or a surface issue, it's not good, but it's not as bad as if it were to be a bend. Oh, I can't stop yawning. Let's see. But aside from that, it's just, again, more surface issues. So I would say if we're to start with the front, so starting with the front, it's very well centered. The corners are really good. There is some dings here on the bottom, and you guys can't see what I'm talking about. So there's some dings in the bottom here. Additionally, you have some scratches in the back of the badge. Have a little bit of a white mark here on the top left corner. And other than that, that's pretty much all I'm seeing. However, when we flip it over is where we start to see more of the problem. So the centering is good. We are seeing a little bit more of some foldage or bend up here on the top, what appears to be at least. We have some just generic surface issues across the surface. And as we get to the bottom left, we have a little bit of whitening here, a little bit of whitening in the bottom right, but it's really just this, what appears to me as a crease, which is going to have a pretty significant impact on the grade itself. In addition to some of these surface issues going across. So it doesn't look like we have enough for a chat grade, but I would say, just from my experiences, so if I just were to start with the front, we're probably looking at like a 7. However, when we flip it over, we quickly go down to like a 6 due to the surface issues, have a little bit of peeling up on the top. We're kind of like getting away from the 6 slightly, but we're still in it. But with this, what appears to be a crease, I would probably say that we're already in kind of like that 4 range, if that were to be a crease. So I'd say if it's not a crease, I would say you're probably looking at a 6 to a 5, depending on if there's any other major scratches in the foil of the card. But if it is a crease, which I'm leaning more towards yes than no, then I'd probably give it a 4, in my opinion, for this Brock. Because creases, chat, I cannot emphasize enough how significant a crease will decrease your grade overall. It's pretty substantial, to be honest. Let's see. Oh man. Moist, thank you for the like in the live. Appreciate you. Already at 6.2k likes. If we can get to 7, that'd be great. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. And let's continue on with the Dragonite. Chili, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you guys very much. Badger, thanks for the likes. Appreciate it. La, la, la. My words are getting jumbled now. All right. Dragonite from Expedition. Let's take a look. Centering is a little bit thicker on the right. Let's see. I don't see the queue order. So if you go to the thread, which should be listed as episode 55. So if you go up all the way to the top, you'll see the subsection and then the nod subsection. So I go from top to bottom. So today, it's Mike, then Skip, then Happy, then Eva, then Phoenix, then Brandon. So that's kind of how I've been doing it. So it's a little bit thicker on the right than it is on the top, what I was kind of talking about. So you can kind of see that if I were to kind of, and this is going to be kind of rough. So I'm taking like the middle of that and kind of going 45 degrees. You can kind of see here, if I kind of save that real quick. So right here, it's a little bit thicker on this side when kind of cut down the middle. Nah, you're good, Skipper. No worries. No worries at all, my friend. Additionally, we have some what appears to be some black dots in these corners here, which I bet you could probably clean up without any issue. It doesn't look too bad. The top left corner looks good. The bottom corner looks good. Maybe a bend. We'll have to kind of take a note of that when we flip it over. Sari, thanks for sharing the live again. Appreciate you. And we have some scratches all across this like reverse hollow section, so that's obviously not going to be very good. And on the back, we have some pretty significant whitening. So I get asked often is how much does whitening impact the overall grade. And this one's going to be a good example. So we have whitening in the top right, top left, bottom right, whitening all over. The biggest issue is probably this bottom right corner, which is pretty substantial. In addition to this right side, pretty significant whitening. So for me, for this card, I would still try to remove these two little black dots with a microfiber cloth or a Q-tip and some distilled water, depending on what type of like substance is stuck on it. But I would say with the amount of whitening, the one saving grace I think you have, so I'm looking at the bottom right, and if I flip it over, we're going to look at the bottom left, is that I don't think that that is a bend, from what I can tell at least. I thought there was, but there's nothing more notable to lead me one way or the other. So I'd probably say that, you know, you're getting into that mod play range, which to me is like a 4 to a 5. But I don't see any major creases. I don't see any major bends. With the exception of what I'm kind of seeing for these folded edges here on the bottom right. So I would say if this is a little bit of a bend or a fold on the bottom here, I would probably lean more towards a 4, or kind of going to that heavy play range. But if it's not, I'd probably lean more towards a 5, in that regard. So just kind of take that. If that is a bend, probably a 4. If it's not, probably a 5 would be my guess for that Dragonite. And then last for your submission, you have the Entei promo. So let's take a look. This one is always very, like, any of the reverse holos are always so difficult to grade as a PSA 10, because just obviously the holo is a majority of the card on the front. So let's take a look. Corners look good. Corners look good. Centering looks good. And again, like I was talking about, you know, it's pretty common to see scratches across the text of these cards. So not yeah, that's why I say it's too, Skipper. It's so easy. Like these cards are like scratch magnets for whatever reason. So we do have some of that going on. Let's see. But other than that, the centering and corners look good, so we'll just flip it over. Honestly, the back is in pretty good shape. Top right corner looks good. Top left corner, left edge looks good. Bottom left edge has a little bit of whitening, but very, very minimal. Bottom edge looks good. Bottom right looking okay. Looks like some white specks you can probably just wipe off. So the back actually looks pretty good. Centering as well. So it's weird because like the amount of, like, from what I've been seeing with PSA's 7s, my gut wants to say that this probably would get a 7. Because we do see, you know, although we do see a pretty notable scratch here across diagonally and near the top left of this volcano and some print lines there, the centering and the corners are actually really good on the front. And the back is actually in really clean shape, because I think you can probably get rid of this this little white speck where my mouse is. And just because I just looked and you guys really can't see what I'm talking about. Let me zoom in real quick. So what I'm talking about is this right here. So this little white speck you probably wipe off, as well as this, and there is one right here too by the N. Probably wipe that off. So I think if you can wipe those off, those little white specks kind of stuck onto the card, I think you have a pretty good shot at a 7, because that centering and those corners are in really good shape. But if you can't, then obviously you're gonna have some points taken away from you from the surface perspective. So just kind of keep that in mind. But yeah. So that is that submission. So we did that one. We did that one. Next up should be Phoenix, I believe. Let's see. No, I missed one. Where is it? Oh, it's the Eevee. There we go. Let's see. Let's see. Scott, I don't know why I'm yawning, chat. I'm sorry. Is there a way to help with light surface scratches from prismatic? So I'll preface my answer by saying that I traditionally don't advocate for anything that you have to add something to a card to improve it from a grading perspective, because it is considered an alteration. However, you know, if you're doing it for your personal collection, you can use like a card wax to potentially address minor scratches. But like when people mention card wax, it's not like it's not going to save or resurrect your card. You know what I mean? But just keep that in mind, though. If you are planning on trying to submit after using something like card wax or anything that you're adding to a card that's not distilled water, you run the risk of it coming back as being altered. So just kind of take that with a grain of salt. Okay, so I would probably say that this Eevee from the prismatic right now, Jal, I am looking at Eva Fan 02. Oh yeah, Chris, that's why I never even think about it. So we're gonna measure just to kind of show you guys real quick. Just to start with the centering, we're gonna measure the top and the bottom. So the top and the bottom look a little bit off center, but we'll see if it's within that new 55-45. So let us take the almighty ruler here. That is clearly accurate. So I am looking, so just for where you guys are seeing, I'm looking right here. So like right within this section. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 5.5 on the top. So 5.5 on the top. And then on the bottom, if I can do my best to line it up here, probably right there. So 5.5 on the top. We have 1, 2, 3.5 on the bottom. So out of 9, so divided by 9. So it's 60, roughly 60-40 from top to bottom. So with the new centering, this would no longer qualify for like within like 10 subgrade centering. So I think with this Eevee, I don't think you're going to get the 10 just to start with the centering on the top. In addition, the other thing that I'm seeing is what appears to be in this bottom left corner, which you guys cannot see. So I'll have to do one of these bad boys. Here we go. So we have a little bit of whitening there on that bottom left corner. So I do not believe that this card would get the 10. You probably get the 9 unless there's something else wrong with like the surface, which then would kind of push you more towards the 8. But because of the centering and because of the whitened corner on the bottom left, you know, you're probably looking at a 9 to an 8. I'd say probably more of a 9 than an 8, but who knows who you're going to get. Okay, next up is Phoenix with the Plasma Glaceon. And boy howdy, is this thing off center. So let's see. So let's measure it. Why not? I'm curious. Let's measure this bad boy. So the right side, all hail the almighty ruler, like what Mike's saying. So let's measure it. So if I were to, that seems about right. So I'm looking, so from here, nope. So from here to here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the right side. So 5 on the right side. And then let's see on the left. So 5 on the right. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 on the left, 5 on the right. So 55, like 56. So you're just over by like a point, like by a 1. So it's like 56. So it's like a 56, 44. Yeah, right. I hear you. I hear you. It gets nervous. It gets nerve-wracking for sure. So I think you're outside of that center, and you can clearly tell that it's you know, it's pretty off center. I think it's probably even a little bit worse, but in person. But judging by the almighty ruler, it's definitely off center from the right to the left. Additionally, we have some whitening here on that right side, so we're probably getting into that 8 range already. And with the back, we're definitely out of that 8 range. We're probably in like the 7 to 6 at first glance. The centering actually on the back is pretty good. It's really just the whitening in the top right. Top left looks fine, actually. A little bit of lighting issues here on that left side. Let's see. Yeah, so I'd probably say, you know, some would probably say like a 7, like a near mint for this card, because of that edge wear. But to me, it's pretty notable. And I really wouldn't be like, if it were me personally, I wouldn't ever list this card as near mint. I'd probably list it more of light play, just because the fact that the whiting on the right side is so noticeable. Kind of on the top right, top right, bottom right corners, and this right edge for the whitening. I'd probably be more comfortable assessing it as a 6 than a 7, in addition to the centering issues on the front, because I personally wouldn't call that near mint, just because of that, like how easily I can tell that has whitening on those edges. So all right, next up we have Brandon with some pretty big promos, to be honest. And will you load? There we go. And my music stopped. There we go. All right. So let me close these ones. And let's look at Jal. This is you, man. You are up. All right. So pretty big, right? Where's the back? I don't know where you went. There we go. All right. So let's take a look. So first up is the Munch Eevee, or the Scream promo Eevee. So first because this is a pretty big card, so we'll try to do our due diligence here. So let's take a look. So left side, and just for context here, if I line it up, we are looking from here to about here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5 to 7. So I'll probably just say 6.5. So I'll obviously measure this in person, but I'd probably say 6.5 to start. And then on the right side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we had 5 on the right, and I gotta measure this again because I already forgot. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5. So 6.5. So what was that? 5 on the other one. So 6.5, 5. So 11.5. So 6.5 divided by 11.5 is 57 roughly. Oh yeah, the Rowlet version's funny. Like, he's actually terrified. So based off of my digital ruler here, which again, do this in person or however you want to measure it, but with this very quick view, it's outside of the new 10 parameter on the left than it is on the right. So I think that the centering is going to not allow you to get the 10 on that front side or on this left side. So if we look at the back, yeah, I think it's really, you probably even get some points docked from these issues on the top here. We have these little bits of whitening here on the top edge. But other than that, we have very, very small ones on the bottom. If I can show you guys what I'm talking about, I have to kind of zoom out a lot, but I have a little bit of whitening here where the tip of my mouse is, as well as here. Would you recommend Beckett or PSA to grade a Japanese Charizard Prism? I guess my follow-up question would be if it's for your personal collection or are you attempting to resell it. For personal collection, it should be whatever slab you like more. For resale, for the highest ROI or return on your investment, it's going to be PSA. Unless you think it's going to get like a black label, then probably Beckett. But even I personally, like if I think a card's like, oh, I think this has to get a black label, I still don't even submit them, because the moment it gets like a 9.5 or a non-black label 10, people are cracking them to get try to get the PSA 10 anyway. So that's way too much for me. So I'd probably just say PSA. So I would say for this card, you're probably in that 8 to 7 range. I would say 7 might be a little bit too aggressive, but I think 8 is within reason because you have that whitening on the top center there, and what appears to be whitening on the bottom, but the corners on the back look really good, and I don't see any other issues. So I'd probably say an 8, because of the centering on the front and then the white and the dings on the top there would be my guess. I don't, Gel. I do not. Pikachu, gray felt hat. I've had to eat my words on this card. I made a video about it like a year ago thinking, oh, it's going to get printed to the ground and it's going to be a steady price. Nope, it's going up. And I have a lot of people commenting, telling me that I'm wrong. So, oh, no, year-old video. Let's see. Centering on this looks way better than the Eevee. I don't even need to bust out the almighty digital ruler on this one. Corners look good from the front. I don't see anything majorly wrong with it. Surface looks good. Yeah, I mean, this card looks pretty good, man. Top right corner looks good. Top left, top edge looks good. Maybe it's a little bit tough for me to see on this bottom left corner here because of the lighting, but that looks good to me. The bottom right corner looks good. Centering looks good. I think this is a pretty good 10 contender from what I can tell. I think you're good for centering. I think you're good with corners. I would attempt to submit, unless there's something else we can't see. That's always my little disclaimer. But I think from what I can see, it looks like a potential good 10 play for sure. So congrats on that. And my personal favorite card, chat, I've said it once and I'll say it again. I think the original promo Birthday Pikachu will be my most favorite card. Just because it's like the only card that encourages you to try to write your name in this box if you're a kid and you don't know that writing with a pen or a marker will destroy your card. I love this card, is awesome. And also your birthday, it like encourages you to write on it. So let's see. Corners look great. Centering looks great. There's obviously scratches here. You can kind of see above the ear, the candles, the tail. But aside from that, from what I can see from the image, looks good. And I don't know if this is the same card or not. Trying to find a notable same card. Okay. Yeah, no new scratches that I can tell on the front from that different angle. The only thing that I see on the back, we have a little bit of whitening there on the top right. These little flakes that appear to be that you can probably wipe them off, but I'm not too sure. Top left corner looking okay. This spot looks a little bit of whitening. Pretty notable scuff mark here, to be honest with you. So we do have that we can't really address, right? The bottom left looks to be okay. Bottom right looks to be okay. And then it looks like just generic like surface issues, with this one being the most notable. So I would say with this one being so aggressive, it would be hard for you to get like the 7 in my opinion, even though the centering and the corners and the front are really good and there are very minimal scratches. Like on its own, the front is probably within like an 8 or a 7 just to start. But the moment we flip it over, like this being so notable, in addition to some of the other whitening on the edges, it would be difficult for me to call this as a near mint with this going on. However, I would say that this is a pretty strong like light play card with how clean the front looks. So I'd probably lean more towards a 6 than a 7 in this case. So that'd be my guess on that. And then for the CD Promo Zard, let's do a quick measurement again, because again, this is a pretty big OG card here. So we gotta, and this one looks at quick glance looks pretty clean. So let's look at the front here. So start about there. So we'll be 1, 2, 3, 4.5 on the right side. So 4.5 on the right side, and then on the left we have 1, 2, 3.5. So 4.5, 3.5, so 8. So 3.5 divided by 3.5 divided by 8. So you're roughly at 44. So 56 to 44 ratio. So a little off center on that right side compared to the left, outside of that 55-45 range. Top and bottom look okay. I think you're within that range. No scratches on the hollow from what I can tell, so that's good. Corners look good. Top, bottom. Yeah, surface looks phenomenal. It's just really the centering. And you can kind of see that translate over on the back as well. But in addition, we have some more like weird surface issues on the back right corner, or the bottom right corner rather, on the back. And I think these little white specks can, again, probably just be wiped off. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, corners look good. I'd probably say with like whatever this is in the bottom, I don't know if that's lighting or not, but my guess is that that's probably some degree of a surface abrasion. So I think with the centering, in addition to some of those, I'm probably leaning more towards an 8, would be my guess. So that's probably what I would say for this Zard. Even though it's clean, it's really just the centering that's causing some issues on that. So I'd probably give that an 8, to be honest. As lighting. So the question is, if that wasn't there, would I still think an 8? It's pretty... What about those white specks on the top? Are those removable or no? Because if it's just the centering that's the issue on paper, then it should be a 9. But if this right here, if this is just lighting, and I'll kind of highlight it. So right here in this section, if that's just lighting, then you're probably a 9. But my gut is saying that if this random pocket is causing this weird reflection, it tells me that there might be something there to cause that kind of sudden reflection where the other stuff around it isn't. But because normally you see that if it's raised. But 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 like you said, if it's just lighting and you're able to remove those little white specks, you're probably leaning more towards a 9. But I'd be questionable about this area in general. But that would be kind of my 2 cents. So yeah, that's your grade review, Brandon, and everyone else who's been hanging out. So, and let me check something real quick. So yeah, pretty good grade review stream. Had a lot of really cool cards. Had a lot of really cool conversations with you guys. For those of you who are still here, I will probably be doing a grand reveal of the online store on either Sunday or Monday. I'm not too sure what day is going to be the best. So if you're looking for some cards, I'm definitely going to be doing some discounts on some stuff. Like I said, I have the store is almost complete for ungraded stuff. So super stoked to show you guys all this stuff during a live stream and show you the new process that I think it's going to be really good. Super stoked to go through these either Sunday or Monday. So if you're in the Discord, I'll make that announcement ahead of time because I don't know which day is going to work best for me, either Sunday or Monday. But definitely keep your eyes and ears open for that. So but yeah, I appreciate all the really good questions in the beginning too. I always because it's hard for me to gauge on whether or not you guys like to kind of just have me ramble about topics like we talked about with tag and online shopping and all that stuff. So definitely let me know if you guys like that stuff. It always is helpful for me to get feedback on what you guys are, want to hear or want to see. Because at the end of the day, I do this for you guys. So I want to provide what you want at the end of the day. So yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Wednesday. Again, the next grade review is going to be on Wednesday. I do this every Wednesday, starting at around anywhere from 6:30 to 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I always make an announcement in the grade review channel, about an hour, a half an hour to an hour prior. So make sure to, if you want your announcements, make sure to go through the server and enable announcements so you can get them if you need them or want them. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me tonight, chat. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Again, keep an eye out for the announcements in the Discord for the new grand reveal Sunday or Monday. Do you do grade reviews off stream or just on live? To be honest, I have such limited time in my schedule that I tend to stick with grade reviews more so during my live sessions. It just makes it easier because I do my own editing, I do my own video uploads, I do my own business stuff. But it's really just me. So that's why, if it's just tough. I can only do so much in the day without having to sacrifice family or friends or health. This is as much of a balance as I can get it without having to pay someone to edit my videos or whatever. It is what it is, in addition to working a full-time job and whatever. So, but yeah. But anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Definitely keep an eye out for the Discord. Super stoked to have that stream. Hopefully Sunday or Monday, do a grand reveal. And hopefully I'll be getting my 71 card PSA return tomorrow or Friday. So that's pretty dope. So super stoked to show that off. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys then. If not, I'll see you back here on Wednesday. And that's good, Chris. Appreciate you, man. I know there's a lot. I want to get back into Pokemon Pocket. There's a new Emerald ROM that came out. There's a lot of stuff. But anyway, Catch you guys in the next time.